Hi everybody. So I decided to do a gear review on this pack here, and one of the reasons why I decided to do it now is because the permits are already out for 2022. Today is November. I think it's the 17th. Could be this. Yeah, the 17th. November 17th, and they've already been out, and some people have already said that they've already received their permit. I'm not going to be attempting the PCT this year. I'm probably going to wait maybe until I fully retire, which shouldn't be that long from now. But anyway, regardless, I wanted to go ahead and do a review of this backpack. I haven't seen many reviews of it, and I thought it should have one. So a couple of things first. This is the Superior Wilderness Designs Rugged Long Haul 50. Okay, it's a rugged long haul 50. It's important to say that because the rugged long haul 50 has a thicker material than the regular long haul 50 or 40. And so I want to do some pros and some cons, and I want to say that most of them are pros. And one of the reasons why I got this, I want to say, is because Olive Oil and I were doing some shakedown hikes prior to my start date of March 30th of 2021. And one of the things that happened, that one time that we were going out to Mary's place from Highway 74, it was snowing, raining a little bit, in between the snow and rain, and I had the ULA circuit, which is a pack that I really like. It's very good. However, it did rain, and I had the Nemo two-person tent, Hornet. And it rained and snowed that night, and the next morning my backpack was completely drenched. Luckily, it rained at night, and I have it in the vestibule, but it did wet through, and the backpack was pretty wet. And it got everything inside wet. Luckily, my sleeping bag was in my tent, and some of the clothes that I had was already in my tent, so it was pretty empty. However, everything got wet inside, and one of the first things that Olive Oil said was, you need to get a waterproof or water-resistant backpack. And I had already tried the Hyperlight Mountain Gear Southwest, and I didn't really like the way it fit up here, which is one of the things I want to talk about this pack. Yeah, the HMG was it may have been the wrong fit for me, but when I tried it over at Nomad Adventures and in Idlewild, Julie, she's pretty good at fitting people with these things, and it really didn't. It put too much strain on my shoulder. And the ULA circuit, of course, it went through, and so I went ahead and took Olivia's advice, Olive Oil. So having said that, let me get started with this. The material of this backpack is X-Pack, very similar to one that she has, which is the Six Moon Designs Swift X. The same kind of material. This is they have a couple of different thicknesses and on this pack, and this one here is the thicker of the two. And I do suggest that if you're going to do the Pacific Crest Trail, that you do get the thicker one. And I did get this at Two Foot Adventures at Julian when Mary was there, and I did try out the Light AF, and I tried out this one as well. And this one here is the one that I chose to get. So having said that, they only did carry the rugged long haul, not just the regular long haul. It's the main reason why I got it, because that's the only one they had, and I'm fortunate and lucky that that's what I did. So it is made out of X-Pack material, the thicker one, and I'll put down on the screen here which one it is. and I do believe that's what it is. You can go into Two Foot Adventures or the Superior Wilderness Designs websites and read on the technical aspects of this backpack. It is a 50-liter inside, and with the carrying capacity of the side pockets and this front pocket over here, it turns it into a 60-liter. I did carry up to 37 pounds. Superior Wilderness Design says that it's good for 40 pounds comfort. I was at 37 pounds max, and it wore very well. Of course, when it's heavier, I did have to do some adjusting to it as I was hiking. With all of my packs, I've had the REI Traverse 70, the Osprey Exos 48, the older model, the ULA Circuit, and this rugged long haul 50. And all of them, the way I am, maybe because of the way my body is or whatever, everybody is different. It takes me about a half mile or so of hiking once I got about 30 or so pounds on it. It takes me about a half mile of hiking for me to get the adjustment just right, and then I get going, and it stays pretty much there, with an occasional little tighten up here or there. And so, having said that, let me go into the pros. I am not careful with my backpacks. I'm not as careful as I should be with my backpack. So this right here on the Pacific Crest Trail, the reason why I said that this is the one the heavier one is the one that I think you should get, is because when I was going through some areas, in particular, I would say between 3 Points, which is 403, and Acton KOA, which is 444, there's a lot of areas there that are completely overgrown. Literally, I had to put my phone down and get the trekking poles and put them in front of me like this and just push right through all these overgrown areas. I could barely see the ground, the trail, and all these thorns were just going up against me. I think at that time I may even have been wearing this Melly, I'm not sure, or the other Melly. But I got all scratched up, and that even tore. At that time I was using the Lunar Solo outside, and it tore the stuff sack off. So it was really rough. And then whenever there was a bunch of blowdowns, like before Mount San Jacinto, and in that same area, there was a lot of blowdowns, a lot of trees falling over, and a lot of them were pretty high up. I would either go underneath, and when I went underneath, it would rub the backpack, or if I was going over, I would try to put it down, but it was so high up, I would drop the backpack, and it would just smack the ground, and I had to go get it. So there was times that I was just very tired, and I would sit down next to a tree and lean up against that tree, the backpack being my pillow, so to speak. So I was very rough with it, very, very rough with it. And it held up very well. So pros, it held up very well, the solid part. When it comes to the mesh back here, it didn't do quite as well. And again, I'm not blaming the pack, because I think any pack, probably the same thing would have happened. But I don't know if you can see that. I did stitch this up right here, because I got a hole there, and that was, I'm not really sure, but I think it was before I got to Cajon Pass. And then there's still a hole right here. It's a pretty good size hole, and I got to stitch that up. I can send it back to Superior Wilderness Designs, and I believe that they would repair it, maybe at a cost, I'm not sure, but I'm not going to bother with it. I'm just going to stitch it up myself and keep using it. But if you look at the material, the sides, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And as far as being water resistant or waterproof, the only time, it only rained twice on me. The one time that it rained was about approximately, I think it was mile 219. It rained at night, so the backpack was inside. I always sleep with a pack inside. The Lunar Solo. The Lunar Solo is very roomy. So for a one person, and I did keep it inside with me all the time. Um, then it rained on me in the Sierra over by Dutch Meadows in that area, right around 7. I don't remember, 7:40 I think it is, or right around there. It rained a good amount, not for a long time, but it rained, and nothing inside got wet. I did, when I was over to Hiker Town, I did take this and I washed it off with the water hose that they had there, and on the inside there was some areas that got a little wet where the seams are. So if I wanted it, I mean, and I had that hose going on there. If I wanted to be more water resistant, I would put some seam sealer on the inside of this right here, but that's really all it would do, and I'm not really that worried about it. I do have a compactor bag inside that I never used. They just laid on the very bottom of the pack. I never used it, but in case I thought I would need it for whatever reason, I had it there just in case. So the pack itself is just one bag, like the ULA Circuit or like the Hyperlight Mountain Gear or like the Z packs. Packs are just one bag. It's a roll top. It has these little snaps here that snap, and they do come in handy. And I rolled it, especially when I had the bear canister. I rolled it and then give it a couple of rolls on the outside just to make sure that, and it kind of closes up like a dry bag, that it would open up, even if I could only get like maybe 3 rolls out of it. Roll it from the middle, and then I rolled it more times on the outside if I could, and then I cinch it down. Now this does have a nice, comfortable, foamy, good foam on here with some loops where you could put things in here. I don't know if you can see those. It has a few of these loops. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side. Now, when I first started, I did not have this water holder here. I got this over at Kennedy Meadows with 2 Foot Adventures when she was over there, instead of being in Julian, and this works wonderful. I did hook this up. I had to hook it up in the middle. But one of the reasons why I'm mentioning this is you guys can see these right here. I would say one of the cons, if any, and I'm thinking I try to cinch this down as much as possible. But one of the things that was happening, let me get over here. One of the things that was happening is that as I went on throughout the day, the sternum strap started to go up in this area here, and it made it uncomfortable. And I would have to constantly be pushing it down. Eventually, I just got these little diaper pins that I carry. I think I still have one over here. I had them in here in the back just to, in case I need to dry something, put some socks or whatever. And I just got 2 of those, and I put them in these little molly loops, or however you want to call these loops. Just put it there so that this could not go up, and that solved the problem. I think Superior Wilderness Designs can maybe do something about that. I'm not sure what they can do, but if they see this video, that's something that they might want to work on. But if it's not fixed, all you need to do is get something, a little safety pin or whatever, and just put it where you want, and it won't go up anymore. I carried it for miles and miles and miles with these little pins on there. I have another one on the inside over here. Okay. Now, this does have this one strap to go down. When you first get this pack, it does not have the little knot that's right here. Okay, it has a little knot that I put on there on this side and also on this side. And if you see, this side over here is already all the way to a knot. What ends up happening when you first get this pack is you have it on, and I didn't loosen it. Sorry. Let's see, where is it? Oh boy, no way was I going to be able to get on there. When you first put it on, let's say you have it on and you have 30 pounds on you or whatever pounds you have on you, and you go to take it off, and you get these things here and you just kind of slide them off. That's what you do. If it doesn't have the knots, it comes completely off. So in other words, this right here that goes to the shoulder strap comes completely off. And so it took me maybe twice before I said, hey, I gotta do something about it. And I put it back in, laced it back through, and I made a little knot, and that solved the problem. Over and over and over again, I just made a knot to the very tip, and I never had any problems with it after doing that. So one of the cons with this, another one of the cons with this is not so much of the pack itself, but when they built it, they didn't put a little knot or maybe put something here at the end that will prevent it from going through this mechanism here. Okay. Now, one of the things that I like is that it does have these load lifters. I always carried it all the way up. Occasionally, I think once or twice, I may have put them down a little bit. I spoke to Charlie over 2 Foot Adventures, and he was saying that the main reason why these load lifters work is because if you go uphill, you can kind of loosen them up, and if you go downhill, you can tighten them up, or vice versa. But I think you find a spot that you like and you leave it there. I just tighten them up all the way. And I think that's one of the reasons why makers of things like HMG or maybe the Light AF that don't have load lifters adjustable like this is because people normally put it one place and you leave it there, and that's it. But I was somewhere after Big Bear and before Silverwood Lake, somewhere still in the canyon there, when I met a hiker, Sunspot, and she was with a friend of hers, hiker that she was hiking with, and her friend, her other hiker that she was with, she was telling me that she liked the shoulder straps because on her HMG, her shoulders would get tired, even though she had the proper fit. And she said that when one of her other packs, and I didn't get the name of it, but that she could adjust the shoulder straps to the point where it won't bother her very much. My thoughts on it are that if you have a pack that's properly fit for you, and you do have hip belts, okay, the hip belts will allow you to carry the pack a little higher up, providing that you have the sternum strap in the right place and these shoulder strap adjusters over here. Not so much the load levelers, but this other adjusters over here. You have them the way you like. You can keep this weight off of your shoulders, and you really, really, really want to keep the weight off of your shoulders. Otherwise, it's going to get you so tired you can even get hurt. So the majority of the weight is supposed to be carried on here. Now, coming down to the hip belt, it does have these 2 adjustments here. I'm not sure what to think about them, to be honest with you. The ULA circuit also has 2 of them, and I didn't like them to begin with, because when you're out there, you just grab one and you tighten it. But I did find that it does make a difference. If you get one and you tighten the top one, for example, it might grip a little more like in this angle and keep it at a certain level. If you tighten the bottom one, it'll be this angle. It might slide down a little bit. It all depends on the body. On everybody's body is different. The heavier you are, you might carry it, or should I say, the more fat you have, you might want to adjust one of them more than the other. So they are helpful, but you got to get to know yourself and the pack and how it carries with you with the amount of weight. So it does take some trial and error to learn what's good for you. Okay, but it does have those 2, unlike the Osprey Exos 48 or the Traverse 70. They just have one, and you just buckle it up and you tighten it up and you go. The hip pockets themselves, I'm filming out of my phone. I have the Note 10 Plus. It's very big. It fits in here. A lot of stuff can fit in this hip pockets. I always carried a through pack Summit Bum Classic, and most of the time I carried everything in there. I did have some extra snacks in here normally. I never put my phone in here. My Summit Bum Classic has a pocket where I just put my phone on there. And again, this material is part of the X-Pack material. It rubbed up against so many thorns, so many trees, so much stuff, and it doesn't have a single tear on it. The bottom part is even a heavier duty than the top. And I did meet a hiker, his name was Space Maker, was his trail name. He said he had the Z-Packs, and when he did the Appalachian Trail, by the time he got done with it, this part fell out. And so he went with a different pack. I believe he went with a ULA Circuit, if I remember right. I met him over at Sisters Crossing prior to my hike when I was doing some trail magic there. I put a lot of stuff back here, and I love these back things. It stretches up on top. This right here, I think, could be a stronger material. I don't know if Superior Wilderness Designs use this material because it makes it a little bit lighter, trying to keep it as ultralight as they can. But I would say, if you have to add an ounce or whatever this might be, get something stronger, get something more durable, because I guarantee you hikers are going to lay on the ground, go up against trees. You have to go through overgrown areas, and these holes here are what happens. Okay, so, and this does feel like a little flimsy, so it could be stronger. Nonetheless, this was 745 miles of hiking, and prior to that, I did some hiking as well as I was doing shakedown, so it has more miles than that. Side pockets. Each side pocket can fit 2 1-liter bottles. I carry the 1.5-liter bottles, smart water bottles, and I won't go back to the 1-liter bottles as long as I have a backpack that's for backpacking, not just day hikes. For backpacking, I'm always going to carry the 1.5 because, especially this year when it was so dry everywhere, there was several 20-mile water carries or thereabouts, and very hot, and you need more water. I had, and I put it on one of my day packs, a little snap here that has a clamp where the 750 milliliter smart water bottle went here, and I also had when you want them, you can't find them. Oh yeah, these guys right here. They come with a pack, one on top, or on the bottom on each side. You put your ice axe or whatever you want, your trekking poles. These are easy to make. Just get some short cord and these fasteners that you can find at most outdoor stores, or even Dick's Sporting Goods or Big Fives or whatever. And I made like 2 extra of these, and I put them here and here, so that when I put my water bottle, I just put those shock cord around it and then held the water bottle in place. I actually made, with some guidelines, a couple of knots. I did for those that are just interested in knowing, I did what's called a uni knot for the part that goes around the bottle, and then the top, I did a Bowman's knot, and as short as I could, and I put a carabiner, and that's what I used for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And I only bought the other one that I'm telling you about, the little clamp that you can go on there. It's made for that, simply because I saw it and I bought it. But you can make your own. Okay. Continuing on, there's really not much more else to say about this pack. The weight of it, I believe it's 2 pounds and 4 ounces. Because it's a heavier material. And one of the things that I think most hikers find, a lot of times before you go on a through hike, You look at all this ultralight and you say, I got my base weight down to this, and I'm going to keep it down, and I'm going to cut my toothbrush, and I'm going to do this, 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 and that. And then as you get going and you're out on trail, your muscles get stronger, your body gets stronger, and your needs change. And it doesn't become one of these things of I'm going to keep this base weight at this point. What happens is you say, this is what I need, this is what I'll use. And yes, I do believe that the lighter you are, the better it is, as long as you're comfortable and you do have a strong enough backpack, because that trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, will tear your backpack apart, unless it's a durable one. So I just started carrying. One time I carried 2 Talenti jars. When I was cold soaking in a Sierra, I left my stove behind the short time that I was in a Sierra. And I also I always carried my leggings, I guess you would call them leggings, to keep warm, but it was so hot I never used them. I always carried 2 pairs of socks. I only used 1 pair of socks. Well, I guess I could make a different video on that subject, but here's the Superior Wilderness Designs logo on the bottom of this. This is the purple one. It comes in olive green as well, and other colors, I believe. This is the one they had at Two Foot Adventures, and I got it. Normally, there's about a 6-month turnaround. So if you want to get this pack, it could take you 6 months just to get it. They have such a backlog, and this pack, another one of the pros. On my Exos 48, this bottom part here, for whatever reason, I think it's part of the frame, it kind of turns in, and it always hurt my lower back. It kind of just dug in there. This one here, I can't feel the bottom. It just feels so good, and it holds up the weight very well. It didn't bother me that at all there. It didn't restrict my hips at all. I think some of you guys may know what I'm talking about when I say that a backpack will restrict your hips. This one didn't do that at all. The ULA Circuit, I believe, didn't either. It did carry a little different. ULA Circuit carries very well. I love that pack. But hey, if you're concerned about rain, you know, you've heard many people say, hey, use a compactor bag. Yeah, but you know, I used my down jacket. I didn't put it inside the compactor bag. I put it up on top because when I got to camp, I would put it on if it was cold. Now, yes, I could put it down in a compactor bag and get it out later, but if you can have a pack that's waterproof or highly water resistant, you're not going to really have that problem. What else? I know I'm missing something. When I put this up here, it did take up some of the space. I made this little guy here, one of the things that I was telling you about. I made this short cord with one of these fasteners, and this is where I would have my water bottle, big tube. It would go through here, and then I would just have it hang down, and I would use it to drink water. I don't like taking the bottles out. I don't like using bladders either. So this is the Superior Wilderness Designs. I don't think I missed any major thing on it. Like I said, it does have little loops here and there for you to tie different things on there. You can make your own suspension, should I say, things to hold things up on the bottom. One of the cons is that this does not have the loop here, so you can put your tent on the bottom, which I did on my Exos 48, and I'm not sure about the ULA Circuit. I don't remember, but it doesn't have it, and I wish it did, because there are times when I want to carry the tent on the bottom here. Well, in a way, I mean, this fit. Even though I had my bear canister inside here, the Lunar Solo, which compacts very down, it fit inside. I started carrying it inside. I said, forget this, I'm not gonna thrash it in all these overgrown areas. So yeah, Superior Wilderness Long Haul, Rugged Long Haul 50. Made here in the United States, in Michigan. That's why they call it Superior Wilderness, because of Lake Superior. Rolls up nicely. Another thing that I guess I must say, as I'm doing this, it does have this right here that connects to this guy right down here, this line. And if you wanted to carry your beer canister up on top, which I don't, because it just makes it so top heavy, beer canister, the BV 500 fit perfectly inside here. It fits up here. Now I used to carry this much tighter, and I had a little S-beaner right here. On that S-beaner, I would hook up another one of these that I made, shock cord. I would hook one of these up to my Birkenstock Arizonas, my camp shoes that were extremely light, and I would hook that up to this and then hook that to the S-beaner, and they would go down and I would just tuck them inside here. I only lost them once when I was getting out of the Desert Divide going into already in San Jacinto, Mount San Jacinto, but and there was snow and whatnot there, and I went under a bush and it got caught and it fell off, and I just picked it up. That was the only time that it ever fell down. So yeah, loops for the ice axe or whatever else you want to use. It also has some on this side over here and up here, trekking poles or whatnot. Wonderful backpack. Everything I need.